Hello there, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am the CHALL, and today Chall Chats the Premier League. Obviously, we had a couple of games last night. We've got a few games coming up this weekend, so we're going to preview them. We're going to speak about the games last night. Obviously, Brighton demolishing Spurs in a coastal crumble for Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, Arsenal losing 2-0 to West Ham. We'll talk about Arsenal's league chances, Spurs' top four chances. Brighton's position at the moment. We're going to talk about West Ham, as well as previewing this weekend's games for the final match day of 2023 for the Premier League. So please like, comment, subscribe, click that Chris Nemish YouTube video. Robert's video coming out this afternoon as well, just before the Mansfield game. Fingers crossed. We're also going to be talking about some other stuff going on as well. We've got some theme park videos coming up. It's been a while since we've uploaded, so I do apologise. But I've gone through a couple of illnesses over the past couple of weeks, but I'm back. I'm fully back, 100%, back ready to go. And yeah, the January video is coming as well. We've got a couple of announcements coming out for some videos that have been in the works for a while now, but I've yet to upload. So that's going to be coming up at some point. So let's get straight into this then. So let's talk about the Arsenal game first of all. 2-0 to West Ham. West Ham sitting sixth. It's been one of their best starts in league history for them. For Arsenal, it's just another example of why I think Arsenal will not win the league. And I've thought Arsenal will not win the league since day one. And the reason why I didn't think they'd win the league since day one is because of Manchester City and because of the two other teams that are really impressing me at the moment, and that's Liverpool and Aston Villa. You've only got to look at the game against West Ham to show why they aren't winning the league this year. First of all, clinicalness. Gabriel Jesus, right now, has the clinical edge of a blunt object. He can't score at the moment. He can barely score at the moment. And you receive a cross, you've got a header. You get your technique on the header right, and you've got yourself a goal. Blazes it over the bar. Technique could have been better, in my opinion. Could have done much about that header, 50-50, but I think the technique for the 50% could have been better. And then you look at the goals West Ham scored. Yes, VAR surrounds the first goal. Let's go for the old Chall VAR first of all. Yes, that ball was out of play. It's clear the ball was out of play. But for me, that is irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant, obviously. I think the ball was out of play. So obviously the VAR was wrong, and there has to be a call out of the consistency of VAR in that game. But what I don't want to use is that as the excuse for why Arsenal lost, because I know there's Arsenal fans out there that do want to use that excuse. But look at the defending on that first goal. I think it was Ben White and Gabriel before the ball went to that situation where it was out of play. And obviously crossed back in, goal comes in, 1-0. But the defending from Gabriel, from Ben White was absolutely poor. Absolutely poor. Second goal, Ward-Prowse swings it in from the corner. Literally, Mavropanos, an ex-Arsenal defender, literally runs from back to middle and jumps higher than anyone. 2-0, game done. Arsenal didn't have the clinical edge to get back in that game. Saka hit the post a couple of times. Gabriel Jesus missed a couple of headers, including that one that I talked about earlier. Odegaard was the better of a bad bunch in the midfield, but again, where's that presence? Where's that presence? I think Declan Rice had a poor game, and Declan Rice has probably been one of Arsenal's more consistent performers this season. But even he had a bad game. He gave away a penalty. Agent Declan Rice, incognito, grab your magnifying glass, incognito. And for me, Declan Rice, I mean, you could hear the West Ham fans after the game or near the end of the game chanting Declan Rice's name because he basically gave them a penalty to try and make it 3. Ryan did well with the save, guessed right, saved it well. But again, still too little too late. Arsenal had a poor game, and don't let VAR shadow the fact that defending was poor. Robbie said it in his AFTV fan cam. Don't use VAR as an excuse. We were still poor. Lee Gunner, shout out to Lee Gunner. He was spot on. It was pathetic. It was a pathetic performance by Arsenal, by anyone's standards. And there has to be more of a call out. There has to be more of a call out When players step over that white line, it's their responsibility. Players let him down badly. But where I will question Arteta is there are certain players that are still being picked that shouldn't be. I think Martinelli's form at the minute's been diabolical. Trossard didn't do the best in that game. But why is Martinelli still starting? Why is Martinelli still starting? It was poor by Arsenal. It was absolutely poor. And there has to be more of a call out. On the West Ham perspective, nothing to say about West Ham apart from brilliant. And there's been a lot of reaction at the moment to some West Ham fans calling out David Moyes and wanting him to be sacked. Why do people want David Moyes to be sacked? Why? You're sixth in the Premier League. It's been one of your best starts, or arguably your best start statistically in the Premier League history to a season. Why do people want David Moyes out? I generally don't get it. I generally don't. Yes, the football sometimes can't be pretty to watch. I get that. But for me, I generally think David Moyes should be kept. You're sixth. You know, it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why some fans want David Moyes out. I generally don't. For me, David Moyes should be manager. For me, David Moyes should be manager of West Ham. And to be fair, I'll be honest with you right now. I didn't predict David Moyes to have the spell that he's having right now at West Ham, where he gets him into a Conference League final, wins him a European trophy, gets him into sixth. I genuinely didn't think David Moyes would have this spell. After what we saw at Manchester United, after what we saw at Real Sociedad, what we saw at Sunderland, you know, what we saw at the end of his first spell at West Ham. Parts of his first West Ham spell. But for me, you know, I didn't expect this at the start when he came back in. No chance. Because, you know, right now, and I'll make a bold claim here, David Moyes is displaying the quality he showed as Everton manager right now in his second spell at West Ham. He's shown what he showed in his full spell at Everton, where he gets that side consistently in the top half and he's got them competing. West Ham, he's won them a European trophy, so he's actually gone further than Everton and he's got them competing. So, you know, do I think West Ham will be in the top 7? I generally think they've got a chance. If they keep the form up, they've generally got a chance. But from an Arsenal point of view, look, like I said it at the start of the season, they weren't going to win the league this year. I get people like Igal, still not giving up and throwing the toys out, etc. I get that, and I respect that from Igal. I do respect that. But I'm with Brandon. I'm with Lee Gunner. I'm with so many other Arsenal fans. I don't think Arsenal will win this league this year. I generally don't. And the reason why, and this is my particular reason, look at Manchester City, and I think it was the 2020-2021 season. They lost to Norwich, they lost to Wolves, they dropped points elsewhere. They were like 8th around October, November, I think it was, something like that. They go on a massive run, they get players back, they reinvest in January, and look where they are. They finished the league by a few points. City have got form. Arsenal have bottled it the last few seasons. And I get that's not the norm opinion. It's not the consensus amongst the majority of Arsenal fans, but I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm a neutral, and I can say it how it is. And what I see is Arsenal Football Club right now will not win the Premier League. And the reason why is lack of clinicalness and a consistent form of bottling it. And I did not think Declan Rice was the only major signing they should have made in the summer. I think Declan Rice signing, hang on, I've got my phone here. I'm going to double check Arsenal's summer signings this season, and I'm going to tell you whether I think they've been good or not, because I think it needs calling out. I think some of it needs calling out here. In my personal opinion, I think it needs calling out. So, first of all, new contracts. Reece Nelson till 2027. Did I think he deserved a new contract till 2027? No. I think maybe a year. I think he started to show some form at some points, and maybe an extra year or two, but not to the extent of 2027. Saliba, I agree with that. Odegaard till 2028. I think maybe less of a year, but I can kind of get it because he's one of the better players. And then obviously Pepe and Maitland-Niles go in. I agree with that. And then you look at the three transfers they brought in. Rice, I think he's been the best of the signings. Havertz has only started to show form now. You know, there was a hilarious claim that someone made that they tried to think Kai Havertz was the next Dennis Bergkamp. I think it was Johnny Minerals that said that, actually. I think it was Johnny Minerals that said Havertz could be the new Dennis Bergkamp or the next Dennis Bergkamp. And I'm just like, mate, with all due respect, I do not agree with that claim because Kai Havertz, in the form that he's shown at Chelsea, shows that he hasn't got it in him to be the next Dennis Bergkamp. You know, how old is Kai Havertz? 24. For me, he's only got a few years until he hits his prime. He's got those few years to show what he can do. Do I think he's going to be as good as Dennis Bergkamp? No, because Dennis Bergkamp is an absolute icon in football. Havertz can still improve. You know, he's shown in the form that he's capable of improving, but I don't think he's going to be the next Dennis Bergkamp, in my opinion. I don't know where that claim came from, with all due respect to Johnny Minerals. I think Johnny Minerals is a fantastic guy, but I did not agree with that claim one bit. Timber, I thought he came in as a versatile defender. You know, I was expecting a bit better, if I'm being honest. And that's literally the only three signings they made. In terms of transfers out, Mari went, I agree with that. Xhaka, I agree with that. Trusty, I agree with that. Turner, I agree with that. Balogun, that was the one that shocked me. And Holding, I agree with that. The only transfer out I didn't agree with was Balogun. And now Eddie Nketiah is on 100 grand a week. And I think Eddie Nketiah is the club's top scorer this season as well. It shows you where some of the problems are. Balogun, in my opinion, did not deserve to get sold. But I'm happy for Balogun because right now he's lapping it up. Right now he's lapping it up. In fact, let's just check how many goals he's got this season so far. So he moved to Monaco in 2023 this year. 4 goals in 14. He's doing all right in the French league. He's doing all right at Monaco, and he's getting linked to some top clubs in January. So for me, Balogun has got the best out of that deal because he's now enjoying his time at Monaco. Yes, it's 4 goals in 14, but that will improve. For me, Balogun was the better of the strikers in terms of long-term longevity. Nketiah on 100 grand a week, I don't agree with that, but I think Nketiah can still be a better player, but I don't think 100 grand a week warrants that. I think Gabriel Jesus is not clinical enough. That's why City sold him. And I think that Arsenal need to look at a striker in January. It is simple as that. If they want to improve, they need a striker, they need a brute in the midfield, and they need a top quality centre back, in my personal opinion. And they need to move a couple of those players on. When I look at that current Arsenal squad, and I'll look at the current Arsenal squad actually. I mean, first of all, centre backs, and this is why I look at centre backs. Saliba, yep, keep. Ben White, on and off. Gabriel has been on and off, but has been one of the better ones. Timber, hit and miss, but I think that can't be helped. Kiwior, in my opinion, not good enough for Arsenal. Needs to go to another club where he can flourish a bit better. Cedric, not good enough for Arsenal. Needs to go to a club and flourish elsewhere. Tomiyasu, again, has the quality. I think he's one of the better of the defenders, but again, just needs to show it on a bit more basis. And Zinchenko, again, just needs to show it on a more consistent basis. Tomiyasu and Gabriel are the best defenders. Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, top 3 defenders at the club right now. Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel. So I think they need a top quality centre back. They need to move on the likes of Kiwior and Cedric if they haven't already, or if they're not planning to already. They need to bring in a top quality centre back, a brute in midfield, and one or two prolific strikers. And that's what they need to go up that next level. Will Arsenal do that in January? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see the proof in the pudding before I decide. From a West Ham perspective, like I said, just keep that form going and you'll be all right. Right then, Brighton 4, Spurs 2. Spurs bottle again. For me, there's a real lack of defending at Tottenham. Real lack of defending, especially when Van der Ven got injured. I think Romero not being fit as well. I think that was a major factor in the defensive setup. You're playing fullbacks in centre back. That just shows you that you need centre backs in January. Just shows you need centre backs in January. Again, with Spurs, you need a top quality centre back in that window. No doubt about it. You need a top quality centre back or two in that window to cover with the amount of injuries you've got. Spurs, and you know what? I said this on the terrace weeks ago when Spurs lost to West Ham. Spurs need a better depth in that squad to even contemplate competing for top 3. Never mind top 4. I had Spurs 5th or 6th this season because I didn't think they were good enough for top 4. I didn't think they had a good enough squad for top 4. And this is the point. This is what the Premier League squads need to do to get better. Spurs right now, Van der Ven, great signing. I think he's been the best defender at the club this season. Maddison, creative genius. I mean, again, you know what? I'll go back to it. Let's have a look at Tottenham's summer window. And I want to analyse this right here, right now on video, because for me, I don't think it was good enough. I don't think the transfer window overall was good enough. So let's have a look. So we're not going to look at the release players because some of them have gone to different clubs. Obviously, Lucas Moura was the big one that's gone back to Brazil. Obviously, he will enjoy his time there. Let's have a look at in. So Kulusevski on a permanent. He's got quality. I think with the season he had, I think it was needed to come into the club. Vicario, he's actually been better than I predicted. I didn't predict he would do that well. I think I said on a video that was either deleted or didn't get uploaded in the end. I said that if it was between him and Raya, I'd have gone with David Raya because of his more Premier League proven experience. But fair play to Vicario. He's shown at times that he's a better goalkeeper. So fair play. You proved me wrong on that one. So Vicario, I apologise. You've been great. Maddison, creative genius, great signing. Pedro Porro. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Solomon, rotational-ish. Phillips, long-term. Van der Ven, great player. Alio Valise, again, someone I need to see a bit more of. Brennan Johnson, I'll give him more time. But where was the replacement for Harry Kane? Where was the defenders that's going to fill the spots left by the likes of Sanchez? There needs to be one or two more top quality defenders in that squad. And there needs to be another kingpin in the midfield. Winks has gone to Leicester. Harvey White, one of the youngsters, has gone to Stevenage on a permanent. Fair play, good signing. But for me, Spurs still needed that kingpin in the midfield that's going to link the play, do the work, that's going to link towards Maddison, link towards the wingers, link towards the attacking midfielders, the strikers, etc. And then again, if you look at the Spurs squad for strikers, for people who can play up front, you've got Son, who's predominantly a winger. You've got Richarlison, who's predominantly a winger. You've got Gill, who's a winger. Perisic, who's a winger. Kulusevski, who's a winger. Johnson, who's a winger. Solomon, who's a winger. And you've got Valise, who's 20 years old. In terms of people who can play striker, you've got a 20-year-old there. You've got a 20-year-old. You need a more experienced striker. You know, what's his name? Victor Boniface, I think it is. You know, pay the right money, you get him. Pay the right money, you get him. Ivan Toney, no matter what the scenario of what's happened to him with the scenario with I think it was gambling or betting, he's a Premier League proven striker. You pay the money, you go and get him in January. Simple. And people say, oh, you can't spend money in January. BS. Absolute BS. I think it was Virgil van Dijk that got sold to Liverpool in January years ago. You can get the player in January as long as you pay the right money. Simple. From a Brighton perspective, absolutely spot on. They got the tactic and they got the way to play Spurs absolutely spot on. Hinshelwood. I'll tell you what, Brighton fans, well, I think Brighton fans know of his quality anyway, but I'll tell you what, Premier League fans, keep an eye out for Jack Hinshelwood. 18 years old. My God, has he got a bright future in this game. My God, has he got a bright future in this game. He is seriously quality. Quality finish by him as well. But again, not to take anything away from Hinshelwood for the first goal. Ugio's destiny was ball watching in that moment. His destiny was ball watching. It was clear. It was so clear. I thought Estupiñán's goal was stupendous, if I say so myself. That was a brilliant goal. The marking on the second and fourth, the way they conceded the 2 penalties for the second and fourth goals were just awful. The fourth one, especially, clear foul from behind. My main gripe with the 2 goals that Spurs scored, and this is the difference, right? And I'm not saying Ben Davies is a better mentality player than the guy who scored the first goal, but the first goal, score it, yeah, come on. Where was the arm to say, bring the ball back, or you go and bring the ball back, and you go straight away, you don't, Ben, I'll use the second goal celebration. Ben Davies, little fist pump to himself, and then hurried his team back. That's how you celebrate when you're 4-0 down. Little fist pump to yourself, you got yourself a little goal, and then you hurry your team back, get the ball on the spot. You still got a few minutes. Come on. First goal. Yeah, I've scored. Yeah. Where's the hurry? We're still 4-0 down. It's all about mentality. Yes, be happy that you've scored, but you still hurry. It's all about mentality. You still hurry your team on to get back into action straight away, because you've got the chance to draw it back. Brighton looked like they were about to go on the ropes for the last couple of minutes. You're in the ascendancy. You're getting goals back, but it was too little too late anyway. It's all about mentality. Don't celebrate at 4-0 down. Do a little fist pump to yourself and then bring your team back. Get people to bring the ball back. I had a real gripe about that. I really had a big gripe. Celebrate, but don't celebrate to the extent of you're not asking them to bring the ball back. That's my gripe. But that's just where I stand on that situation. But yeah, Brighton, great. Spurs need a lot of work before it gets better. Right then, finally, we've got some games coming up this weekend. Do a little preview on both of them, on all 6 of them, sorry. Both of them? Yeah, 3 pairs. First of all, R12 kickoff, Luton v Chelsea. I actually think Luton could win that one. I'm not even joking. Chelsea are an absolute disgrace at the moment. Absolute disgrace. And I see people saying, oh, it's all on the manager, No, it's on those players as well. Professionals like Raheem Sterling should be performing better. And Chelsea's recruitment should be focused on just 16-year-olds. This isn't school. This isn't high school. This isn't Chelsea High School. This is Chelsea Football Club. You need to be signing experienced professionals that are going to do a job. But they've wasted £1 billion already. So I don't know what they're going to do in January, but I'm genuinely worried for Chelsea this season. I genuinely am. And I'm worried for Pochettino because I think the fans are really turning on Pochettino. And I think that, Pochettino, yes, he doesn't help himself sometimes with selections, with substitutions, with the way they're set up sometimes. But players need to take responsibility. I don't think many of them are. Luton, fair play to them. Yes, they're in the relegation zone, but not by a lot. And Luton will be fired up for this one. It's a London derby. They're going to be fired up for this one. So for me, Luton, I think, will win that one. Aston Villa, Burnley, I think Villa will bounce back from that 3-2 loss to Manchester United. Great comeback by United, but yeah, they're still in an awful position. Villa will bounce back, though. No offense to Burnley, but they will get slapped by Aston Villa, in my opinion. I think, yes, Burnley have the players to play good football, but right now they're just not showing it at all. There's a lack of defensive nature, and I think Vincent Kompany's aware of that. For Burnley right now, it's just adapting to Premier League and trying to get to that stage where they can, move on and push on. Whether they get relegated and come back up or whatever, I think Burnley will be all right anyway. But yeah, Villa for me will win this game easy. Crystal Palace, Brentford. I think Brentford will win this one. There were stories going about that Hodgson could be up for the axe, and Steve Cooper's been rumoured. So I generally don't know what to make of that situation with Palace, but I think Brentford will win this one. Man City, Sheffield United. I can see only one winner, unfortunately. Yes, Chris Wilder's got that side firing a bit. He's got the mentality back up a bit, but it's Manchester City. They came back from 1-0 down to beat Everton 3-1. They've got their mentality back. They bring players in January. They get bodies back. They're going to be in a better position. Wolves v Everton. I generally don't know how to predict this one because Everton have been firing at the minute under Sean Dyche. Put it this way, if it weren't for the points deduction, they would be like near the top 10 or inside the top 10, actually. So for me, I think Everton have been firing. But again, Wolves have been brilliant under Gary McNeil so far. I think that Gary O'Neill's been one of the most underrated managers in the Premier League this year. And I say that with confidence because Gary O'Neill tactically knows how to work his system and he knows what he wants in January. We know that obviously Fabio Silva's gone on loan to Rangers for the rest of the season now. Obviously that news came out this week. But I think Wolves will know what they want to do in January, and I think they know what they want to do going forward. So it's going to be a hard one. I'm actually going to go with a 1-1. No, in fact, no, not 1-1 because they've been scoring here. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw for that one. Man City, Sheffield United, I'm going to go with a 3-1 to Man City again. I think Crystal Palace, Brentford will be 2-1 Brentford. I think Aston Villa, Burnley will be 2-0 Villa. And I think Luton, Chelsea will be 3-1. I'll be honest with you. I think 2-1 or 3-1. Finally, then, the 5:30 kickoff on the Saturday, Forest host Manchester United. And it would be a very United thing to lose to Forest, wouldn't it? I'm actually going to go for the 1-1 draw here. I think Forest will draw this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Forest won this game either. Yes, United had a fantastic comeback against Aston Villa. Shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, though. But, great. They came back. They won the game. Brilliant. Tenag gets saved another week. But for me, I just feel like Forest will get something out of this game. I just have this genuine feeling about it. But there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this video on the Premier League. Stay tuned for another video coming soon from Dogster Rovers. We're going to be speaking to a special guest on this Dogster Rovers video, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be putting up more theme park content, more sports content, so stay tuned for more. And for now, guys, I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.